Board members, I wanted to give you a real quick summary of where we are with our facilities program after some of the adjustments that we made last year. Currently, we have 32 COCs renovated or newly constructed. 2 are under construction, Elliott Community Learning Center, which is projected to be complete by July of 2019. And then Case Community Learning Center, we moved their completion date to July of 2018. Originally, we thought we would move in over Christmas break, but we decided to take some additional time, not cause a serious disruption in education, and make sure everything is taken care of. So we'll be complete in July, and we'll move over the summer. Currently, Kenmore Garfield Community Learning Center is in design. We'll be starting our community planning process this fall. And then 5 buildings remain. We have Miller South, Firestone Park, Piper North, and of course the I Promise School, which will be the LeBron James Family Foundation partnership school with us. So a total of 40 buildings that we have in our inventory compared to 58 buildings when we initially started the project. One of the reasons for that, of course, has been enrollment, which when I started here in Akron Public Schools, we had like 34,000 students, and now we're a little over 20,000 students. Last spring, we also provided the latest enrollment summary from the state of Ohio and the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission, basically accounting for everything that we built, which is in, from segments 1 through 5. We have left about 1,417 students that the state will partner with us now, as long as they don't do another enrollment projection and that changes. Approximately 1,043 9 through 12 students and 374 career technical students for our career programs. And so that number is what we're going to be looking at in terms of the new Kenmore Garfield COC. The facility changes that we undertook last year, of course, included closing Bettis Elementary School and merging it with Harris Jackson, closing Kent Middle School and merging it with Ennis Community Learning Center, and combining Garfield and Kenmore High Schools. Both schools are merged into the Kenmore building temporarily while we construct the new COC. We should be starting with asbestos hazardous materials removal this fall, then demolition, and then site work. I know this is like, I can barely read it up here, so I know you're having problems, but what we did with working with our CFO, Ryan Middleton, is last year we looked at our financial forecast in October before talking about the changes in buildings and the combinations, and then looked at the forecast in May. And so basically, in that scenario, in October, we looked at our 5-year forecast, and when we go out to the fiscal year 2021, we were going into a deficit in terms of an ending balance of about $10.4 million. With the closures and combinations and some other budget adjustments, the May forecast was adjusted, where by fiscal year 2021, we showed a positive ending balance of about $17.6 million, even though our actual revenue versus expenditure shows a deficit in that year, but the final cash balance was positive. A preview of our financial forecast for this year will show the balance in fiscal year 2021. Our ending balance is much lower, but still positive. And then moving another year out, going 5 years into the future, we see an ending cash balance of a minus $20.4 million. So just based on some of the adjustments that we've made from last year, including the provision of Chromebooks and other programs within the district, we're going to have to really work on our finances moving forward. So some of the challenges that we face as a district will continue to be eliminating that gap between student enrollment and building capacity. With the changes that we made last year, we're getting a lot closer. We still have adequate capacity, but our building usage is uneven across the district. Mrs. Mansfield and Mr. Bravo alluded to issues on North Hill, where even with our projections from last year, more students came in, some from, in terms of enrolling in kindergarten. So I think we projected 3 kindergarten classrooms at Harris, and we ended up with 5. That's a good problem to have on one hand, but the problem on the other hand, of course, is running out of space, where we've had to move some things around, like our integrated preschool program. At Finley, it's another building that continues to see increases in enrollment. So that's a problem we're having on North Hill. On the other side of town, in the East Cluster, we have elementary schools that still are not being utilized to capacity, and there is some available space there. We actually have very limited options for further school consolidation because of some of that uneven population. Most of our schools are pretty well used, except for a few instances. And so I'm not really projecting any school closures or consolidations for this upcoming year, but I think we need to look at some of our administrative and support facilities for potential consolidation to improve some efficiency. We also have to be mindful of our College and Career Academy program and our I-Promise School. Both programs will impact our budget. In terms of the remaining schools, Firestone Park, it remains open, and we'll be evaluating it annually, as well as Piper. Miller South remains as our Visual Performing Arts program. North High School, our College and Career Academy is located there. And then, of course, our I-Promise School, and I'll be recommending to board as we work through the I-Promise strategic plan, is to locate it temporarily at 400 West Market and then figure out where the permanent home will be, because, of course, Harris is already out of 400 West Market, and Case will be moving out of 400 West Market to their new COC over the summer. In terms of recommendations, I think we'll need to continue to review the enrollment, but more importantly, review the boundary patterns on North Hill to see if we can maybe increase the boundaries and absorb another building that might have space. We'll also have to review our building capacity. Like I said before, there are some schools, elementary schools in the East Cluster, that do have some extra capacity. We'll also have to look at, again, administrative and support facilities for potential consolidation, and then use the savings from those potential consolidations to support our programs like I-Promise and College and Career Academies. In terms of our administrative facilities, it's a well-known fact that we operate 2 main administrative buildings, the Sylvester Small Administration Building at 70 North Broadway and the Conrad Ottstaff Development Center on Steiner Avenue. Both of these buildings are about a little over 100 years old, which splits our administrative staff, which makes us a little bit less efficient than if we were all in one location. And then looking at both of those buildings, I mean, in terms of the roofs, the windows, the heating, HVAC, we're estimating, over the next 15 or 20 years, needing about $5.1 million just to bring them up to standards. We have seen some properties, and looking at are there potential for other properties in the city that could serve as a potential combined administration facility. We do know that there is a building at 10 North Main, which is just a few blocks from 70 North Broadway, that's currently available and being marketed. The purchase price of that, I think that building is maybe has a list price of more than $8.5 million. But that building would have to be renovated because it isn't for, I think Summa Care is in that building now. Renovations and purchase could potentially be accomplished through some cost savings by combining the admin and the op buildings. A couple of other buildings that, we thought could have potential, but they're not in the center of downtown. Of course, 400 West Market, but it looks like we're going to need to put our I Promise school there. And then also at East End, but that's really not in the center of our community. It's outside of downtown. But those are some things that we'll have to continue to look at in terms of the potential for consolidating some of our administrative facilities. One of the potential benefits in terms of finding a location like a 10 North Main or another building is we do know that that building has sufficient size to absorb both of our buildings. That would allow, the gist behind this is offering better customer service, ample parking, being centrally located, and having space for our professional and teacher training opportunities, because right now we're leasing rooms at either the Hilton Garden Inn or some other location and end up paying money for that. In addition, if any of you have been to the administration building this summer, I think maybe half of the time our elevator has been out of commission. The one time it was out of commission is because it has a special order, having built a new motor for that one because it's so old. But we really do need to make some adjustments in terms of both buildings because of their limited ADA compliance and security features than our current sites have. In addition, neither of our administration buildings has a generator, so when the power goes out, usually in the winter time, we have to vacate the building because, of course, the heat's not working, none of the fans are working, etc. What I would like to do in terms of next steps with our, facility plan is really this year focus on our support facilities like the administration building and the OT building. We'd really like to look at the feasibility of combining those two buildings at one location and look at the potential cost savings and then see if those cost savings can be used to help finance a building. 400 West Market Street, I will highly recommend that the board use that as swing space for the I Promise school. And then, if we do find a location, to work with the city of Akron in terms of the disposition of the small and the OT buildings. I am a little familiar with the potential use for 70 North Broadway. I know other folks have eyed our parking lot because we're one of the few people downtown that actually has surface parking. So it could be, assets that could be used. And then, again, looking at a building like a 10 North Main that's centrally located, I think we need to look at that and some other facilities, just verify what they're looking at in terms of financials, obtain from Mr. Middleton some finance options, and then identify some potential savings to fund that project, and then provide you all with a timeline for next steps, whether it's 10 North Main or some other facility.